everyone, welcome to Show and Tell number 33. I think that's right. My name is Claudie and thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. Okay, so before I get started, let me just say that if you are here for like a ton of crafting content, this is not going to be the right episode for you. You should go back and like watch some of the old ones or wait for another one to come out because this one's going to be mostly tell. I've had some stuff happen in life and family and things. So I'm going to talk about that at the end. So I just want to go through and we'll talk about the crafting stuff that I have done. I've got some knitting and I've got some purchases that I received. Plus, I'll just talk about this first. I'm not going to detail any of what I'm getting ready to say on this episode because I want to kind of keep it separate. But I'll just say that someone from Crafts Americana who owns Knit Picks contacted me and they asked if they could send me something, and I said of course, yeah. And so they sent me stuff, and then they also sent something for you guys to do a giveaway, and I'm really excited about it. Unfortunately, with my time constraints going on right now, I can't get that out today, but I hope to get that done this week. I should be able to get it done this week, but yeah, so just be on the lookout for that. It's really exciting. And yeah, okay, so let's just go with what I am working on. I don't, if I finished anything, honestly, I don't remember finishing anything. I don't know. I feel like I might have been working on a hat at some point, but once I get to like the mostly telling part, yeah, you'll understand. My brain, a little frazzled. So yeah, I don't think I finished anything. And if I'm wrong, I will tell you guys next time, but I don't think I am. I have been working on socks. So I mentioned last time that I was going to start a pair of socks from the Arnie and Carlos line of Regia, or Regia, and I did that. So it's living in this bag. This is an exploding TARDIS bag, and it's by Halk Yarn. I received this in a swap last year. I love this bag, and it's got these like stars. You know, like you always like you draw stars, kind of, without like lifting your pen. Yeah. So yay, fun. All right. Anyway, I'm working on them in tandem, like I like to do my socks, and these are cuffed down. These are just going to be plain socks. No patterning or anything on them other than like what the yarn does itself. I did try to get to a starting point where it was the same and then sort of just gave up because it's kind of hard, or it was kind of hard for me to read the yarn. I wasn't 100% sure if I was actually in the same spot or not, and I was like, you know what, we'll just forget about it. And I think they might actually be, I feel like that the skeins are actually reversed. So I feel like, I mean, I know I'll know once I get further into it, just to make sure like it doesn't mirror or something and I'm not aware of it. But I think the way that the colors are working out, I feel like that the skeins were wound in opposite directions, but whatever. This yarn's so busy that like, I don't know, I'm never going to really notice, and if anybody is close enough to my feet to notice and they say anything about it, I'll kick them. So anyway, there you go. I've obviously done a little bit more on this one than I've done on this one. You can see it. This is a self-patterning yarn, so it creates like a faux Fair Isle kind of deal. I love this yarn. So this yarn, I've never used Regia yarn before. Is that true? Yeah, I don't think I've used Regia yarn before. And so I wasn't 100% sure. I felt it before, but like I wasn't sure what it would be like to work with. And this is going to be a very sturdy sock yarn, but I found that like it's not like if I run that on my finger, it doesn't, or maybe I'm getting calluses, I don't know, but it doesn't hurt my finger like some other yarns do. Like for instance, I think the first socks I ever made were out of, oh man, what is it? It was Lion Brand, the Lion Brand Sockies. Yeah, Lion Brand Sockies. And while those socks are like, they are going strong, and I wore them so many times at this point. And I just throw them in the washing machine and dryer and everything. But it was a little hard to work with. It was a little rough. The yarn was a little rough. This is, I think, going to be as durable, but slightly less rough to work with. So I've not noticed. I with the other yarn, I had a little bit of pain, and this one I don't. And again, it could be calluses. So it's been a while since I started making socks, but I really like it. I'm using 2.5 millimeter needles. Yes, 2.5 millimeter needles, which is a size 1. And I started out with 72 stitches, and then I've decreased down to 64. Is that right? Yes, that's right. So I did, you can sort of see, I don't know if you can. You can see like where the decreases were, like there was a decrease like here and here. And I did 4 decreases on those 2 rows. And I think I just did knit 2 togethers. Yeah. So it's really, I don't know, I really like them. They're fun, and I love it. The colorway is, it's called Fall Night in like that's what the the English version is. But Regia is a German brand, and so they don't actually have the German colorway name on the band, but it is, what was that, 36.55? Yeah, 36.55. You can see that's what it looks like. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell what it's going to look like when you're just looking at the ball, but it's fine. I like it. And I am quite pleased with it. I did kind of go out and get a bunch done right away, but then like this stuff happened, and I've only been, since everything happened, and it started about a week ago, I've done maybe 10 rows between the 2 pairs. So not a lot of work, not a lot of crafting time or crafting energy. And I feel like I probably am forgetting. I'm sure I worked on something else that I'm just forgetting, because it seems like, I don't know, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't know. Whatever. So that is all I have that I have worked on. Normally, if you're new to this channel or to the show and tells or whatever, I normally have more stuff to show you. So I apologize for not. I think that you guys will forgive me when I tell you what's going on. But yeah. So I do have some purchases that I made. So let's talk about that. So Joann's, number one, Joann's had their packaged beads on sale for, or maybe beads and charms maybe, on sale for 50%. And then they had a 40% off coupon on top of that for beads and charms. So you know I had to go. And I believe I posted a picture of Instagram when I got there, and I called it my emergency, non-emergency Joann's visit. When the coupons come together like that, it's kind of an emergency, but not really. So, I bought a couple of things of beads. These are size 6 check glass beads. I was trying to see if they have a name. Beater's Paradise. Yeah. So I got 2 colors. The green, does it have okay. It doesn't have a color name, but I'm almost positive that it was emeralds. And then this is the clear, and these both have the silver lining in them. So yeah, really cute. I needed some clear ones, though, to be honest, when I think about it, I actually needed the kind that were unlined, but it's fine. I don't think they had the ones that were unlined. Maybe that's the reason I grabbed these instead, but I just wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Whatever. So I think it brought down, I have the receipt that brought down the price on those to, what was it, $1.25 a piece? So that's pretty good. Sorry about that. They also have these cute little charms, and I had to buy them. And they only had one pack left, or I would have bought all of them. These are little, I don't know, like woodland creature dudes. Not really all creatures, but so there's a squirrel. Nope. There's a squirrel, a bunny, and a doe or a deer. And then there's an acorn, a leaf, and a pine cone. And I'm really over summer. Like, I'm just done. So, is it fall yet? That's what I saw when I saw these. I was like, maybe if I use these or turn them into stitch markers, it will become autumn, and it will no longer be so disgustingly humid. I mean, I don't know if you can. My hair is kind of frizzy anyway. That's just what it is. But it's just it's been so bad. So obviously these are like, I don't know if they actually call, I don't know. It's like an antique gold or bronze kind of deal. I didn't have any of the findings that are that color, so I had to buy some. Because I'm going to turn these into like removable stitch markers. So I got some jump rings, and they call these oxidized brass. And then I got lobster clasps. And these are also oxidized brass. And I'm pretty sure that these are oxidized brass, and then these, I feel like they were called antique gold, but honestly the color is exactly the same. So, at least to me, in my eyeballs. And then I also bought some jump rings in silver. These are 4mm ones because I didn't have that size and I needed them. So, I had to grab that. So that's all I got from Joann's. And then I had placed an order a while ago, but it just came in last week sometime, I think, from Turtle Maid. Now, as you know, Turtle Maid is like the person that I talk about all the time because I love the 3D printed drop spindles. I have a little bit of an obsession, and according to Amy, who's Meow1 here on YouTube, she says I'm like a turtle, or I'm a 3D printed no, what did she call me? A Turkish spindle pusher. It's because of these. This was like, once I started using a Turkish spindle versus like a Top Whirl drop spindle, my spinning, like I figured it out. So I'm sure that wasn't the reason. It probably just was whatever. But in my mind, this helped me. So I kind of am like, you should try it. So yeah, this is an old one, or an older one that I had. But what I bought is she released a new item, and she calls these, she called it a plying spindle. Okay, so this is the plying spindle, and this is her standard size. This was formerly the largest one she had. You can see there's a huge difference. Let's see, can I get them to line up? Yeah, you can see there's a huge difference. This is not going to work, but you can see. I believe it's 2 inches longer. Yeah, the shaft is 2 inches longer, and that is about 2 inches longer as well. So this one is much heavier, obviously, because it's bigger. It's much heavier than this one. I believe these are like maybe an ounce, and this I believe is like double that. So it is going to have more weight to it, but obviously it's bigger, and yeah, I didn't really suggest it, but I mean, she probably could. I know she's done it before with other spindles where she does cutouts to kind of make it lighter, and I bet she probably could do that with this because there's tons of surface space to work it out, but I don't know if that's something she'd be interested or not. So yeah, I'm excited. Now the color, it's actually showing up, at least on my screen, much more what I was expecting it to look like. I was trying to go for like a TARDIS themed color, and in real life this blue it looks more purple to me, and maybe it's just the lighting or the room I'm in, or I don't know. But on my, when I look at my monitor, it looks more blue than it does to me when I'm looking at it in front of my face. So I did the opaque white for the shaft, for the main arm. I think it was just like dark blue, and then this was black. Now this one has a white shaft too, but this one glows in the dark. So that's fun. But this one does not. So, yeah. The bottom part looks a little different. You can use these as supported spindles if you wanted to, but I will tell you, I wouldn't do this on your hand for too long. That's kind of sharp. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And I had to buy it because when I was plying before, I had done 4 ounces, 2 on each. I've got 2 of these, so I did 2 2-ounce sections, and then I tried to apply them together on this spindle, and it just didn't fit, which could have just been my error, probably. But the applying spindle will definitely allow me more room to be able to do everything. While I was there on her Etsy store, I had to buy yarn. I've never bought yarn from her before. I bought fiber before, but I never bought yarn. She had this gradient. She calls it "If Elephants Could Fly." Right? Like, there was no way I wasn't going to buy this. So, yeah, I'm just glad that it was still there when I actually went to make the purchase. So, she calls this her color shifter. It's 460 yards superwash yarn. I'm not 100% sure. I know it's fingering weight, but I don't know if it's superwash with nylon or just superwash. I probably should double check. But yeah, I just love it. It's kind of, there's a little bit of, like, the colors aren't super, how do I want to put this? They're not solid, I guess. There's a little bit of white that kind of peeks through, but I love it. I actually really, really love how it looks. You can kind of tell there, like you can see, it's not like a solid gray. It's, you know, it's more, let's see, there's the, I don't know. I was thinking you could see on there, like you could see that there's like little white spots on there, but I really love it, and so I had to buy it. It did take 2 weeks, the full 2 weeks, I think, for her to send it out to me. Normally she gets stuff out a little quicker, but I think there was something happened. So she did, I mean, in the listing it does say to allow up to 2 weeks for that, but it normally doesn't take that long. And she apologized and everything, and it's fine. But just something to keep in mind if you order. You may have to wait the full amount of time. Sometimes we get, like, used to not having to wait, and yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the showing. There's telling, but the showing part, that's pretty much, I'm looking around like something magically is going to pop out at me. That's pretty much it. Yeah, so let's talk about what's been going on. Okay, I will not cry. Okay, so if you follow me on Instagram, I'm crafting with Claudia there, but if you follow me on Instagram, was it Tuesday? Yeah, I posted a picture saying I was at the hospital with my dad. He had a stroke, and it's not good. His left side, he didn't lose feeling, and he's not completely numb or anything, and he can move his left arm and his left leg, but not nearly as well as he can his right side. And his left arm is like the worst. Like, it's what got, I think, hit the worst. When you ask him to squeeze your fingers, like it's like he can't really make a grip. But he has been able to move his arm and get it up. He just doesn't really have a lot of control over his fingers or if you ask him to hold it up and like keep it steady, he can't really do that. You know, like if you hold your arm up, you can probably keep it up here for a while until your shoulder starts to hurt, and he can't do that. It just kind of flops back down. So yeah. I'm thankful, like his mind is fine, like he's able to eat and everything, feed himself. Um, so there's not been any complications with that. There's a couple other things that he probably wouldn't want me talking about. Um, but he can't really walk. And he said it feels like on his left side it's just really heavy. Like it feels like there's a huge weight on his left side. And so they've not really had him up too much to like walk and stuff, but they have had to try to get him up, and he was able to hold himself up with a walker or on a walker, but not for very long, and it was almost just like he wasn't moving, he was just stationary. So yeah, he was in the hospital for a few days, and then on Friday night, very late, they moved him over to a rehab place downtown, and this place, they do like a lot of therapy. They do like 3 hours of therapy a day, Monday through Friday. I think on the weekends they will sometimes, if you weren't able to do the therapy or whatever, they will kind of catch up on the weekends, or you know, that kind of thing. So, but normally the weekends are more like resting time. Um, so I will be there a lot. He will probably be there. They said normally most patients stay for about 2 weeks, but it depends on the level of recovery and everything like that. Um, with him, I mean, if he can't walk and he can't use his left side, I I don't even want to like say the words, but if that happens, he's never going to be able to like really truly take care of himself. Um, and that's a very hard thing for him because he's always been very independent. So it's very sad. So, but I mean, I am hopeful. I am hopeful. The fact that like he can move his arm at all, and he can move his leg and everything, and his leg has more. Um, it seems like his leg wasn't as effective as affected as his arm was, but you know, we don't really know, and it's still very early on. Today is actually the first day that he's going to be doing actual therapy. Before it was more like little burst of therapy, and then they did the initial like sort of baseline test over the weekend. So he did a little bit, but it wasn't as intense as it'll be going forward. So his speech was slurred, but that comes and goes. His face drooping, like his left side, it comes and goes. And because it's not like a constant thing, and maybe I'm just being super optimistic, and if that's the case, then whatever, I'll just be super optimistic because I need that right now. But I feel like because it's not staying that way, that there's a good chance that he's going to fully recover. If I'm completely wrong, and you know I'm completely wrong, please don't tell me. I will cry. I mean, I've already cried plenty of times. I'm trying to hold it together. So, yeah, I'm really, you know, I mean, this is a hard thing. It's going to be very, very hard to do everything else. And so, before, if you guys have been following along, I think I know I mentioned something was going on, but I feel like I told you actually what was going on. A couple of months ago, his girlfriend had a stroke as well, and she's in a nursing home. Her right side was affected, and she has a little bit of movement and stuff now, but she was pretty much, it was just like, it was all turned off, and like her speech was, you couldn't understand her because she wasn't using the right words and all that stuff, and so it's much, at least, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but it seems like what she had was a lot worse than what he has. Um, so I mean, they basically told her family that she probably wouldn't ever be able to, like, she wasn't going to recover, basically. Um, and with my dad, they've not said that, but I think they're kind of waiting to see how it goes before they make that determination. They did say that the place that the stroke happened was not a typical place, and it was caused from arterial damage. So my dad is almost 80 years old, and he is diabetic. He manages it with just his diet and stuff now. Like, he took insulin when he first found out, and then he was able to manage it with his diet up until his girlfriend went into the hospital and he started eating really bad stuff. And I mean, I feel partially responsible for that because, like, he lives about 40 minutes away, and I wasn't going up there, every other day or anything, so I wasn't able to make sure he had proper stuff in the house or anything like that. And I did make a grocery list for him, and he got that stuff, and his blood sugar was fine then, but when I didn't kind of tell him, like, lay out a meal plan, he was kind of just going to a restaurant and eating whatever, which usually entailed like either biscuits and gravy or hamburgers and french fries. So, like, things he's not supposed to eat every day. Um, because hello carbs, right? So, yeah, so they said, like, basically that type of damage happens, if you're diabetic, if you had high cholesterol or high blood pressure, and he doesn't have those things now, but he did at one point. They checked all his, like, arteries, and, like, they ran, like, I don't know if they did the dye test or whatever. I know they did an MRI and a CAT scan and an echocardiogram and a CT scan and something else. What is that called? Where they do the veins in your neck. Angiogram. They did all that stuff, and all of that, except what they showed in the MRI, everything else was fine. So at least that's good. And he generally had been taking a lot, good care of himself, but he was also really stressed out these last couple of months. And that can get you, stress is really, really bad. So, yeah. Okay, so basically all that means that I have been just incredibly, incredibly busy this last week. And I'm trying to get everything set up so that way I can take care of everything without him having to be present. Since she's been in the hospital, I was taking care of his bills, making sure everything was paid on time. But now I'm gonna actually need, like, to get on his accounts and everything, so that way they'll actually talk to me. Because before I was just like, I was just actually, like, helping him write the checks and making sure everything was done, and he would just finalize it all. And now I'm gonna have to do that all. His house, he was moving out of her house. Her children are selling her house, and he lived with her. He has a house too that my brother's living in, and so we're having to get it set up so that way Dad can move back there. Luckily, it is a ranch, like, one level style house, so I think once a ramp is built to get into the house, he shouldn't have any problems. I'm not 100% sure about, like, doorways and things. Like, there may have to be something that's widened. I don't really know, but we'll have to see if he has to get a wheelchair. Personally, I think, again, being optimistic, I think he's going to be okay. I just think it may take a while. So, okay. Yeah. So because of all of this happening, and because of the sort of long-term prognosis, or recovery period, that if he is able to recover, it is going to take a long time, and he's going to need someone to look after him, and there's a chance he may have to move in with me if his house isn't ready by the time that they want him to go. They think he's ready to go. He may have to move in with me. But basically, this just means that I've had to cancel plans. For instance, I am no longer going to Rhinebeck. Yeah. So what initially happened is like me and a bunch of people here from YouTube, um, we're going to go and meet up in Vermont and stay in a cabin or whatever, and then we were going to drive down to Rhinebeck together. Um, and Erin, who's giving me Erin 418, she was organizing all of this, or she is organizing all this. Like they're still going. um, so yeah, I mean, like I've been in for a while, and I was really excited, and it's just, it's a couple months away. And I just think in a couple months he's not going to be. I'm not going to be able to be gone for a week. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So, yeah. So I'm not going. If you know, my spot is open. So if you are interested, or some YouTuber who's interested, send me a message, send me an email, craftingwithclaudy@gmail.com, or a DM on Instagram, or a message on Ravelry, whatever. Or you can send a message here, but for some reason I don't always get the notifications that I have messages. I have to actually go in and check, and I'm really bad about that. So, but yeah, so if you know someone who's interested or who would be interested, I think it'll be really fun. So yeah, let me know, and I will try to coordinate some information sharing. Okay. But I am sad about not being able to go, and there's some other stuff I have to cancel, and Rhinebeck will be there next year. So, and I didn't even tell you. So, did I tell? Yes, I told you that we were under contract on a house, right? Okay, we were. We are no longer under contract on that house. We found the inspection report found some stuff, surprisingly not what I was expecting them to find. But the major thing was the electrical system. Like, it was bad. And there was just no way we were going to buy a house that had those many electrical problems without them fixing them first. The seller just flat out refused. So we backed out. We were allowed to back out at that point, so it wasn't like we got penalized or anything for it. They weren't willing to make the repairs, and there was other stuff wrong. There was a lot of other stuff wrong that we didn't know about, but specifically the electrical was probably like the biggest hazard, as a fire hazard right there. So we're no longer under contract, which is probably a good thing, because the location that house was in, if I have to, I mean, if my dad is living with me permanently, this house is just not going to cut it. It's just not big enough, and we will need to move. If he is able to go home, there's a chance that I will need to move closer to him. So I'll have to actually move into Ohio, where, I live in northern Kentucky now, and we were trying to stay in northern Kentucky. That's where my husband works, and so we were trying to minimize his commute. But if we move, there's certain sections of Ohio that won't take him that long to get to, or to get to work. So it's fine. We were trying to find a midway point between my dad's house and my husband's place of business, and yeah. So anyway, that's just stuff that we don't know yet. We've decided that we're not going to worry about that for a while. I want to know how. I want to see how Dad is going to recover, and just make sure that he's the most important thing right now. So I need to know what's going to happen. So if we need to buy a house that will accommodate him, and whatever needs he's going to have, or move us closer, so that way I can be closer in case he needs something, we need to figure out if that's going to happen. So right now he lives about 40 minutes away from me, so it's not a quick trip, and making that every day it's not sustainable. So yeah. Okay. I think that's everything. I'm really sorry that this one is very, content light and everything like that. I didn't I just haven't really worked on stuff, and quite frankly, those 10 rows I did on the socks, like, it took a lot of effort just to do that, so. Okay, I'm gonna go and, you know, I do wanna say something, before I go, actually. On Instagram, I posted the thing about my dad on Instagram, and I got so many wonderful comments and messages and everything from people just about that, and I just wanna say a huge thank you, guys. Like, you don't know. I mean, I can't even tell you how much all of that meant to me, especially sitting there and when I was reading everything. The cell service was horrible in the hospital room, but once they moved him up into, um, they admitted him and they moved him up to another. He was out of the ER. Um, I was able to check everybody's messages and everything, and like, I I will never be able to actually articulate how much all of that meant to me, and how just amazing this community is, and how much I just adore you guys, and I thank you so much. Um, so if you, I mean, I would appreciate like good thoughts if you're religious, you know, prayer, whatever. Like, he's my daddy, and I, yeah, okay, okay, I'm gonna go, and I really, really appreciate it, and I love you all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.